Hello, and welcome back to another Warhammer 40,000 Lost Crusade video with me, Mr. Gill. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for all of your previous views, likes, comments, suggestions, subscriptions, and all of that jazz. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we did a quick intro on this game, Warhammer 40,000 Lost Crusade, available on your mobiles and your PCs and your things and the stuffs and all the jazz. And we're going to follow this up with some basic videos about some of the things. Today we're going to talk about troop types. Okay, relatively easy. I've just taken a quick new game here. I can't seem to link my game on my mobile to the game I play on an emulator on PC. I've watched a few people online who've been able to do it. I can't seem to do it. There's something about it. It just says error all the time and it won't let me. It's very annoying. So we most likely will have to start up a completely brand new game on the PC and run that in concurrence. Is that a word? Concurrence? Next to the game I play on my mobile. Which will be annoying because I just can't achieve as much as I want to achieve in days because I can't sit in front of my computer all day, every day. Anyway, to troop types. So basically we are just level 3 base battle barge level 5 here, and that has now opened up all of the main troop types in the game. If you can see here, I have all 5 of the buildings set here. The last one to build is Whirlwind Sanctum, which is this one here to the kind of left. That is only available to build at Battle Barge level 5. So once you get to Battle Barge level 5, you will have all 5 of these guys. The Whirlwind Sanctum, who builds the Whirlwind Tanks. The Primaris Barracks here, where we get the Primaris Squads. The Vanguard Barracks here, where we get the Vanguard Veterans. The Predator Sanctum here, where we get the Predator Tanks. And the Dreadnought Sanctum, where we get the Dreadnoughts. The Dreadnoughts are my favorite. Checking in here, we can see a little few things about these buildings. And we can see that upgrading the buildings do give it higher training speeds, and they also unlock higher tiers of the actual troops. So that's kind of important. You want to keep these upgraded as fast as you possibly can. I would say at each level you're going to be upgrading these. When you get further on, I remember, I think Battle Barge level 15, you needed to have Vanguard and something else upgraded. So make sure you keep them upgraded, otherwise you will get to a bottleneck at some point. Popping into them, we can see it's relatively easy. We can see the details. We can upgrade it here if we need to. They're relatively cheap to upgrade, usually only costing a little bit, and the first few upgrades are not taking that much time, so very quick and easy to do. Make sure you do that. Once we pop in, up on here on the left here, we've got all of the tiers of the troops all the way up to level 9. We can see here the current troops we have selected, so we've got level 1 troops. And we can see here, down here, how many we have, 160, so this is the bottom of the center of the screen here. If we click on the information, this is going to give us a bit more information about these guys, their attack, their defense, their HP, attack range, attack rate, load, and movement speed, as well as a little bit of a story. It'll also show some skills that these things have. We don't need to worry so much about those today. Importantly, it will show us here how to disband them. So something that's kind of important, as you level up, you're going to get higher and higher tiers. It'll eventually become either too expensive or too time consuming to upgrade your troops each time, so it might just become better to disband them or either suicide them against other players. Cool. Up here in the top right corner of this little screen, and we can make this guy twirl around, eh? Dancing Queen, young and free, only 17. Whoa! Ha. That's kind of fun. Up here in the top right, we can see what is called the help screen, which shows us the troop counter cycle, or what is often known as the combat triangle. This is not a triangle, there's 5 points on it, so this is a, what's a 5-pointed thing? A pentagon. That's a 5-pointed thing, isn't it? So basically you can see here artillery over ranged infantry, over battle tanks, over artillery, and then these kind of lean in. The battle tank goes over melee, infantry, which goes over walkers, and walkers goes over ranged infantry, so it's a big kind of circle of life. But it's not so much something you have to worry about at the start. As you get more and more troops and as you tier level your troops up, this will start to become more important. But right now, at least up to Battle Barge level 10 or something like that, I wouldn't stress too much about the troop counter cycle. What we're really interested in here is the attack, the defense, the HP, and the load. That's the basic stats that we want to know about. And also how much it's going to cost us. So at the start, these are relatively cheap to make, but you can see that they will take metal, they will take fuel, they will also take adamantium at higher tiers, and they will take the other stuff. I can't remember what this is called. The blue stuff at higher tiers as well. The training amount we can see here, 5 out of 5 we can train, and we can use the little slider here to train as many as we want. We can also instant train them with using the gems if we need to, or take the time. Now we can increase this training amount through 2 different methods. We can obviously research. Where's my... Oh, I haven't even built it. Bam. Bam. Boing. It's done. We can pop into the research facility here. And there are various researchers. If we pop into military tech, I believe it is. Is it military tech? Maybe not. Max Predator Defense. I thought it was military tech. I wrote this down somewhere, but now I've lost it. Somewhere in resources. Increases army size, that's important. Maybe it's base development, actually. March speed, wounded capacity. Single training troop amount. It is. It's base development. I apologise. There's something called the Chapter Servitor, base level 1, and this goes up to various levels. If we research this, we will increase the single troop training amount. So that little number 5 out of 5 that we saw just before, over here, 5 out of 5 will increase if we do that research. The other way to increase that is to build a Vox Amplifier. The Vox Amplifier increases training speed and training limits. Think of this as an encampment or something like that. They have them in many sorts of games. Basically, they're the most annoying things in the world because they cost enormous amounts. They take a lot of time. They take up space that could be used for resources, but they are kind of super important in that it increases the amount you can train overall. So it is something wise to do. I would suggest on my other account, I currently have 3 Vox level amplifiers to the max level, which is about 16. I think I am on that account. I would suggest that you keep these upgraded and you have 2 to 3 of them at a bare minimum. It is super useful to be able to train faster and train more. So one of those babies is a good idea. You will actually notice, as a side note, at the start here you are able to speed up anything that takes less than 5 minutes. You can upgrade instantly. You can increase that 5-minute limit, 5-minute cap, by doing some research, etc. So keep an eye on that as you go forward. However, once we just did that, upgraded that 3 times, there we go, we can train 3 more of these babies. That's fantastic. So we're able to train. It's relatively easy. It's going to take a little bit of time. Once they're trained, we click on them and they will shoot off and we can train again. These guys should always be training. Do not stop training these guys. As you can see down here, our daily missions, our growth missions, and our story missions all have sections where they require you to train certain things. Interesting to note, in this game, it is the fact of starting the training that gets you the reward. Usually, in many of these games, you have to finish the training to get the reward, or finish the task. Here, you start the task, it's not even finished yet, bam, we've got the reward. Fantastico. Anyway, 5 types of troops. Which ones should you train? As I said, they all have basic stats: attack, HP, defense, and load. These are all going to be useful for various things you need to do at the start of the game. Now, what we're talking about here is basically from base level 1, barrage base level 1, and player level 1, up until about barrage base 12 or 15, say. That's kind of the early game, the start game. That should take you about, I don't know, 2 to 4 days of play, maybe a couple of hours a day. You should be able to get up to that level. So we're talking about that period there. Who should we be training? Why should we be training them? What are we training them for? So, roughly speaking, if you pop through, and we're just going to have a look at level 1 troops here, level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all of these numbers go up commensurately. That's not a word either. Commensurately. All of these numbers go up in parallel. That kind of works. So the attack for the Whirlwinds is always going to be this, and then level 2 it goes up to 29, 36. The percentage by which it increases is always the same between each levels. Who has the strongest attack then? So we might need attack. We will probably have to attack some NPCs. We will end up attacking some other players as well. So we need to find who has the strongest attack so that we can train a few of those. In that instant, that is the Whirlwind Sanctum people, or the Whirlwind Tanks. These have the strongest attack at tier 1. They have an attack of 24, which is 2 higher than the next ones, which is the Predator Tanks. So the 2 tanks here are your tanks. They have the highest level of attack, and so they are kind of important to keep training them at the start, because you're going to be able to use those to attack higher level NPCs and then hopefully some players once your newbie shield drops. Now, however, that's not super important right at the start, so I wouldn't say go overboard, but I would say make sure that you have a bit of these guys going on. The next thing that's kind of important is HP. So who has the most amount of life or HP? That is the Dreadnoughts here. These babies have 66 HP at tier 1 versus 60 for the next lot, which are the Vanguard veterans. So these guys over here, the Dreadnoughts, are pretty good in that they have a massive amount of health, but their attack is relatively small. It's only 12, which is half of that of the Whirlwind Tanks. So while they're not fantastic at that, they are super useful in terms of just kind of throwing troops against a wall type of thing because of their high HP. I personally like training these guys, and I think to me they feel like the ones to aim for at the moment. Simply because in terms of the early game, you're probably just going to be losing a lot of troops. You know, your tiers are pretty low, and it's easier just to keep on training kind of, fodder, so to speak. Defense-wise, overall, they're all pretty similar. However, the Predator tanks here have the highest defense at a level of 7. However, the Dreadnoughts pop in at level 6, which is pretty good as well. So these guys not only have the HP, but they also have the defense coming in second best, which is not a bad thing either. You can see why I'm starting to lean towards the Dreadnoughts. And then we have load. So load is in terms of how much you can gather when you're either gathering out in the star map or whether you're attacking another player and looting them. How much load can you carry? The top load carriers are the Dreadnoughts again, so they can carry 120. Oh no, I completely lie, sorry. The top are the Predator Tanks. They can carry 200, which is not bad at all. The Dreadnoughts here can only carry 120. As I'm saying this, I'm actually kind of saying I like the tanks better, the Predator Tanks. They've got the second highest attack. They've got a medium level HP, which is not great, but they've got the highest defense and they've got the highest load. That's not a bad thing. So, I would suggest at the start, if I wanted to be attacking NPCs and I want to be gathering a load of resources and looting as much resources as possible, I'm going to be training a combination of the Predator Sanctum dudes, the Predator Tanks, and the Dreadnoughts. I think that's the ones to focus on. I think that's going to get you the best benefit in the early game. As I said, this is not necessarily when you're going toe-to-toe with a level 3 player, the top-ranked player in your alliance or somebody else's alliance, or whatever. You're going to need to think different strategies there. But in the beginning, these are the two I would focus on, Predator Sanctum and the Dreadnought Sanctum. I would get these leveled up as fast as possible, and I would be pumping out huge amounts of the troops in these types, because I believe their overall stats in attack, HP, defense, and load are the best for the early game. That's my 2 cents. I'm sticking to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that helps you in your early game playing Warhammer 40,000 online, whatever it's called, Lost Crusade. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you have any questions or things you want to know. This is, as I said, we're doing basic tutorials to start, so we will come back and revisit troops and troop types when we're a higher level and when we have more information about which troops are best for attacking another player, etc, etc, etc. But let's just start at the start and make sure we get all our basics down pat first. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you click the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you want to. Make sure you eat some cheese today. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.